Hey everybody, and welcome to this special on Mars coming back in bounds. So when Mars comes back in bounds of the declination of 23.27, it returns to a more focused use of energy and assertiveness. When Mars is out of bounds, yes, it gives us that energy, but it can make it a racket, so we can use it for negative means, like aggressively getting our points across on the global scale, like political scale. People can use it to abuse their power and stuff. When Mars comes back in bounds, we're able to use this energy more in a proactive and protective and ethical way. It can make us more determined and gives us the ability to take more decisive action. When Mars was out of bounds, yes, we had the energy, but we may have been fickle and flexible and mutable and changing with the wind and where we wanted to focus this energy. So now Mars returns, but it can also negatively intensify our aggression and impatience, also making us reckless and impulsive and making hasty decisions. So what we have to do is use the focus and the ability to concentrate and channel that energy productively. Psychologically, it symbolises a time of renewed passion and drive and gives us the chance to overcome our obstacles and manage our desires, and sort of like assert ourselves more effectively, respecting other people's boundaries and enforcing our own in an assertive and not aggressive way. So this energy allows us to tap into our deeper instincts, our primal nature, increasing our need for more independence and self-expression. The best use of this energy is to use it for physical activities and projects that require focus, planning, courage, energy and determination. So for some of you, it can be starting a new fitness routine. Others, it can be starting or continuing a challenging project or career or academic goal, or even standing up for yourself in a difficult situation. You can be like, enough is enough, I'm quitting this job or this relationship, I'm moving on to live my best life sort of thing. But just remember, it's important to plan and to channel the energy of Mars constructively, and just make sure you're not being reckless, be disciplined, and this will help you avoid conflicts as well as negative repercussions of unthought out decisions. Now I'm going to talk specifically about Mars coming and back in bounds in January 2024. So this happens on the 23rd of January. So when Mars goes back in bounds this year, it makes the following aspects. So now I'm going to talk about how these aspects influence the whole period Mars comes back into bounds. So it comes back in bounds on the 23rd of January, and it stays in bounds until September the 6th, 2024. So a whole sort of like 8 and a bit months of being back in bounds. These aspects are going to flavour that 8 and a bit months period. So the first aspect is the moon is making an opposition to Mars. Over the next 8 months or so, it can trigger conflicts and challenges, but also, provides the energy for resolution and growth. So we may encounter disagreements with people, and this can lead to heated discussions. However, instead of just always getting into arguments and repetitive cycles, if we address the underlying emotions that are filled in this, so this person may have hurt you like 10 years ago, or took your pen 10 years ago, or kissed your boyfriend in grade 5 or primary school, So you need to get to the root of why this person gives you the ick and try and find common ground, even if that means keeping your distance, so you can resolve and strengthen your relationship, or just decide to let go and stop winding each other up. Mercury also makes a conjunction to Mars, so this makes us more flexible in our communication, can make us more assertive, giving us the ability to express ideas with more clarity and conviction. So when we find ourselves in situations where we may need to negotiate or sell ourselves, this energy can help us be persuasive, make us come across with more clarity, and just making it easier to get our message across more effectively. Mars also makes a trine to Uranus. Over the next 8 months of Mars coming back into bounds, it allows us to break free from routine in a steady day by step way. So as I said, try and make changes slowly rather than drastic ones and doing it reckless. Or for some of you, you may have to make the drastic change just to get you out of your comfort zone. Maybe you've been stuck and stagnant for ages, so you need this kind of drastic pull. But just know that there are going to be days where you're going to want to go back to your self-destructive habits or thoughts and relationships, so you're going to have to battle that, and there will be times when you do fall back, but if you commit to always getting back up after each fall and to keep on going, then this energy allows us to take calculated risks over a long period of time, which if we keep on going with can really make us grow on the emotional, psychological and spiritual levels. So Mars also makes a quintile to Neptune. So this over the next 8 months supports us being more creative and compassionate in our actions. It's a blend of Mars' assertiveness with Neptune's imagination. So we can, help ourselves, healing ourselves through creativity, or help other people to do so, or just express your emotions to others, maybe with a song, writing a song, poetry, dancing, singing, anything that helps you and others connect, or you just connect with yourself on a deeper level. So it's also good energy to help us give back to charity and to just, really get really creative. If you really want to work on that book you've been putting off, that project you've been putting off over the next 8 months, this energy can really push us forward. And Mars is square to Chiron brings again more conflict between our assertiveness and woundedness. So again, it's telling us, as such is life, old emotions can get brought back up. We may find ourselves in situations after situation when people trigger our insecurity, but again, always try and get back to the root cause of why you're feeling this way. Have more empathy with yourself and others. Try and be more understanding and loving and forgiving, trying to understand other people's beliefs and perspectives, and allowing yourself to grow and change your own beliefs and values, and validate your own and others' emotions. So by addressing and acknowledging our wounds and working with others, we can find resolutions that honours each of our experiences and individual needs. And finally, Mars makes a square to the North Node. So over the coming 8 months, we may feel the conflict between what we're doing now in our lives and the direction our soul and higher consciousness wants us to go. So we have to balance our taking action and going forward with fulfilling our desires and instant gratification, but also tapping into our delayed gratification, putting off our pleasure as well and working towards a greater purpose. And often we have to delay certain pleasures to get down to the hard work, focus that's needed to bring our goals into reality. So during this time, all in all, it's important to reflect on whether your current actions and ambitions are aligned with your soul's growth and higher calling. So you may ask yourself things like, are the goals you're pursuing in line with your true purpose, or are you being driven by personal ambition without considering the bigger picture of your life and circumstances and authentic needs and values? So now is the time to reevaluate your priorities and seek guidance from others if you need, and just get more in tune with how you feel within yourself. So when Mars comes back in bounds, it does so when it's in the 21st degree of Sagittarius, so this flavours the whole period. So it's Mars in Sagittarius is mutable fire energy, so we can change during this time, loads, but it also gives us the sort of like spark to try new things as well. So we kind of through this time are being given borrowed energy from the universe. If we tap into it, we can expand our world, we can see beyond our usual limitations, we can embrace new ideas and approaches, let go of toxic things that have been holding us back. If we're really prepared to gain a new understanding of the world, our whole world can be transformed. So we can sort of like just use this energy to just think about what we want and the ways that maybe we've been too dependent on other people's ideas or opinions or societies or families and cultures and stuff. How can we build our own intuition and our own judgment? So this is a time to research what you actually believe and maintain your own individuality, but first you have to find it. And it really wants us to think about why we do conform and think about the pitfalls of blindly following the crowd or conforming to societal norms and other people's expectations. It calls for us to stay true to ourselves and listen to our inner voice. And through this delicate dance of incorporating external knowledge while honouring your own perspective, doing your own research, listen to others, but what do you actually think about this information? What does your inner voice says? Do shadow work and inner child work to heal and understand and nurture your shadow and channel your self-destructive thoughts and ways of relating to yourself and others into productive sort of like projects and expression. And this is what Mars coming back in bounds over the next 8 months allows us to do. So that's the short version. If you want to know more about the practical, worldly, political meanings and how it affects our career and personal development and committed and hookup relationships, then listen on. If not, thanks for listening. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a bit more about the astrological, practical, worldly, political, spiritual, esoteric, symbolic, creative and emotional meanings of Mars leaving out of bounds and coming back into the bounds of 23.27 declination. So it brings a shift in our sexual motivation energy, because that's what Mars sort of like rules. So it really rules our sensuality along with Venus, but Mars is more about libido, our actual drive, our aggression drives, our enthusiastic, our passionate sort of ways of being. So when Mars is back in bounds, we'll be able to manage all of these areas a bit more. When Mars was out of bounds, it may be, we may have been a more wilder, more unmotivated, or just wanting to do our own thing. When it comes back into bounds, it brings a renewed sense of determination in our life. And sort of like it can be for some of you, especially those with strong Scorpio and Mars energy, 1st and 8th house energies in their natal chart. It can be like unleashing a powerhouse of motivation that pushes you towards achieving your goals. You can really finish those things you've been putting off, ending or starting, becoming more productive. Practically as well, you can become more efficient, but try not to push yourself too much and get overwhelmed and get into burnout and where you're in an unmanageable sort of like state. Try and do everything in balance, but ultimately this energy brings easier, more accessible bursts of inspiration that can help you tackle even the toughest challenges. Even if you were born with Mars out of bounds in your natal chart, so when Mars is in bounds for most of the year, you can feel kind of lacking. We have to remember a lot of life and getting things done, especially, heartbreak and upset and everything else going on. We really have to tap into that mind over matter. So this energy, allows us to do that if we're open to it and we're prepared to, work towards making that a daily habit for us, a step-by-step change. On the worldly, materialistic level, it can help us rearrange our finances by creating new opportunities to change our material circumstances. Some of us may receive an unexpected income or come up with a new idea or do more work or negotiate successful business deals or just make wise investments at this time. It can make us just more assertive and take charge of our financial matters and make more strategic decisions that are more in line with our long-term abundance rather than being reckless with our money as well, which is always good. On the political front, leaders can be driven to go after their agendas with more determination, vitality and passion. So we can see conflicts in power, struggles of dominance go on, and people can just become more aggressive with their tactics in the business and political words right now as well. On the spiritual, esoteric level, it symbolises the deepening of our inner fire and passion. It can be like feeling like the cosmic energies have aligned to ignite a greater sense of purpose and connection within you. So you may find yourself into practices that nourish your soul. So like I said, for some of you it can just be simple things as working, well not simple, but working through your addiction and self-destructive thoughts and habits and relationships. Others of you may be interested in deepening your connection to your inner self and life with meditation, yoga and other spiritual practices. You know, really trying to build yourself love, awareness and acceptance, and bringing about of balance to your desires and aspirations, and asking yourself how can you become more tuned to what truly fulfills you in life, how you can become more self-empowered so you can go after your dreams. So for some of you, on the simplest level, well not simple, but it'll be working through your psychological and emotional blockages that stop you from going after what you really want, or just keeps you in a loop of repeating the past. In terms of emotionally and creatively in our relationships, we can really be more motivated to have our desires fulfilled and we can express. So this is really good, healthy communication in our relationships. But again, just watch out for being overly aggressive and overstepping people's boundaries, and make sure you assert your own as well. But ultimately, this energy can help us create deeper connections and bring a sense of empowerment into our emotional lives and relationships, which is mutually reciprocated, which is good. We can have breakthroughs in our creative work, but we always just have to make sure that we balance these breakthroughs with avoiding burnout, not getting too obsessive with anything, and just keep in mind that this heightened energy and assertiveness when Mars comes back into bounds, so it can be more focused, less erratic, more straightforward. Just watch out for those power struggles, and just watch out for people or you yourself competing constantly for control and dominance. Ask yourself, why do you do this? Why do you feel you need to maybe manipulate others or control others, or why do you allow other people to dominate you? And just trying to get back in touch with your own sense of power and using it more effectively. In terms of karma, when Mars comes back in bounds, it reawakens the energies of action and assertiveness, giving us the power to follow through and confront challenges in our lives head on. So karmic lessons related to being more courageous and independent and assertive, in lifetimes where we may have not done this may come in dreams or subconsciously play out in our lives, and now we are being called to find out how to stand up for ourselves assertively and take charge of our own destiny and life. But we can just try and just go for it, be honest with ourselves. And although, depending on what's going on in your own natal chart, this can vary, but this energy is affecting us all mundanely, because this is what's happening in terms of Mars transiting back in bounds. So, paying attention to, because unless you control your own natal sort of like energies and stuff, they'll kind of just drag you along, and then you get dragged along, sometimes not in your own natal placements and transits, but the worldly ones. So these are the worldly ones that we can fall into, that we need to be aware, so we can navigate, so we can keep working on our own spiritual and emotional growth over our lifetime. So now I'm just going to talk about how family and co-work and committed and hookup relationships are affected when Mars comes back in bounds. So in terms of our family dynamics, we can have a more sort of enthusiastic energy in the household. We can be more willing to share activities with each other, but we can be more aggressive and impatient as well. So we just need to make sure we respect each other's boundaries and ask questions rather than assuming. In terms of friendship, it can make us just feel more empowered in our social circle. We can be more enthusiastic about spending time with our friends. So this is good because it can help us heal problems, or if we've been drifting apart in relationships, can help us feel more closer together. And doing physical activities or working on projects together is also a good use of this in terms of friendship. So this can be, I don't know, building a house, as some of you are just building a house on a gaming platform like The Sim or something for others of you. And so, just connecting in the ways that you guys connect. Negatively, because Mars energy, has a big say in our egos, it can lead to arguments if we don't respect each other's boundaries, so just watch out for that. In terms of co-worker relationships, can make us more productive as well, bring more dynamism and enthusiasm into the relationship, helping us to work together. But again, we need to make sure that we understand and work within each other's boundaries, because we can get competitive and have a need to control others. So just make sure we don't do this, and we call people out in respectful ways when we do this and assert ourselves. The key to this at work is, over the next 8 months, communicate effectively and try and use conflict resolution skills and active listening skills to combat this sort of energy. In terms of committed relationships, it can make us more adventurous as a couple, but negatively it can make us more argumentative as well. So again, because of the clash of wills and agendas, and because we can all become assertive, we can just, the relationship, even if it's a more roles are defined in a relationship, everybody can become more dominant now. So just make sure you have the proper open communication, compromise, and have empathy in order to overcome conflicts that come up. And by doing this, by talking things out rather than just shouting at each other and getting aggressive, you can come to a more deeper understanding and have more growth in the relationship. In terms of hookups, again, we can become more adventurous in them, but again, we have to make sure that we respect boundaries and make sure we get clear consent and communicate throughout, because Mars can make us more pushy and for what we want. So we just have to make sure that we communicate clearly to avoid breaking people's boundaries in a dangerous sort of way. In terms of career development, it gives us a driven mindset, and it pushes us to pursue our goals and start new projects and do old ones that we've been putting off, even if it's been years that you've put these projects off. If you work towards it now, you can make lightning superhero sort of or heroine person speed towards reaching your goals right now. In terms of spiritual development, it helps us to become more focused and determined in our spiritual journey. As we dig deeper into our beliefs and practices, we can gain more spiritual enlightenment and growth, which is always continuous. We are never arrived, we are always arriving. So it just encourages us to be more dedicated and disciplined in our spiritual attainment as well as our personal development. Gives us the chance to be more self-confident and push ourselves beyond our comfort zones, which is always good, and set new goals and challenge ourselves and just take more proactive steps towards our self-improvement. And it can just give us that necessary drive to overcome obstacles and achieve personal milestones that maybe we've been trying to achieve for years. So educationally, it's a good energy for us to excel academically. So this can be at a traditional course, university, school, or in a self-learning program that you have. It pushes us to study harder, take on challenging subjects, be more consistent, and go after intellectual plans and with newfound sort of vigour and passion. And it just allows us to go after new learning opportunities, set new educational goals, and make significant progress in our academic journeys. So now I'm going to finish up by talking about the best things for creatives, professionals, entrepreneurs, alternative healers and lovers to do when Mars comes back into bounds. So when Mars comes back into bounds, it's a good energy to channel into working with others, refining our creative techniques and exploring new ideas. Professionals should take risks, calculated risks, well thought out risk. It's a good energy to showcase your skills and expertise, or to learn new skills, seek out new clients or projects, or networking or starting a new sort of side venture, or going after that promotion. Entrepreneurs can use this energy to have breakthroughs in their projects, launch new products or services, and gain visibility in the market. So yeah, alternative healers can use this energy to promote healing and transformation, learning new techniques, changing even the way that they work completely to techniques that align more with their passion and expertise. Use this time to assertively market your services and reach a wider sort of like audience. People need you. Don't think, oh, this person's got millions of followers or thousands of followers, I can never do it. Just think, my niche is out there waiting for my services, and only I can deliver my services to my niche in the way that I deliver them. So this is a great opportunity for personal growth and professional development as well. And finally, for lovers, you can use the fiery energy of Mars to reignite passion in your relationships, bring more fun and excitement, spice up your love life, or if you're single, spice up your me time, your self-care. Explore new experiences with yourself or your partner, or confidently pursue romantic connections. Even if you have been hurt before, it can be hard, but put yourself out there. This is a note to me as much as it is to you. So yeah, make this year your year, and use this energy to deepen your emotional connection with yourself and create memorable memories with yourself and those.